Oh, that was the wrong scene. My bad. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Game 3 of Week 6, King of the Hill. A little bit of a production mess up there, but we are in live with the game, and on the north side of Longreskaya, we have Talisman playing once again as the Soviet Union.
Do not adjust your sets. This isn't... it is not Love Nest. It is a fellow heavy-duty tournament winner, Nagano. This time playing as Wehrmacht, so a different player, different Axis faction. And Nagano is going to try to tread where his opponent didn't before, and that's all over the reigning king, Talisman's.
Expected that Love Nest would have had a better game than he did, and still managed to reclaim 2 VP, still managed to hold on to make it into squad after squad after squad into the melee.
Sounded like a deranged penguin then, Dan. Squad after squad after squad after squad. But regardless, I mean, Talisman's now, by my counts, he is 2 years into being a top-tier tournament player, right? He emerged during ESL, which was around this time 2 years ago in 2016. And around endurance, the skill, the expertise start to culminate. Nobody just starts being an amazing tournament winner. It all has to start somewhere. And then it's all about trying to keep that going and keep this kind of confidence in your abilities to such a high level. And we may be seeing Talisman possibly doing that. Look at this, Dan. Very important, by the way. We've gone for a classic Ko-1 style Wehrmacht push up through the spine of Longres with that MG in position. He may be able to get the pin here.
It's almost like OMG Pop is in the room as he gets that early game MG suppression through the center. Decap's nice, utilizing the green cover that was put up by the conscripts. Talisman's going to Ura in. It's just in time.
Got it.
It's just in time.
Just in time there from Talisman, getting within the capping circle and defending himself. And he's also flanked the MG. Great defense by your reigning king.
We are losing a sector.
Yeah, that was great. That was a really, really good identification of the problem. Good defense, good flanking. I mean, how many people can think about all those things at once in an engagement? Talisman is playing. He's absolutely on fire today. And he's going to try and steal that building before the MG can get in. Is not successful. Now he's trying to bounce around the arc, the MG arc. We're going to see Nagano switching the positions. Talisman isn't prepared to out-micro his opponent on this engagement.
No, he's already done enough. It was position already. I mean, he's not had any major wins, but what I mean is with the form he's shown today, the fact that he's defended this early aggression of Nagano, it means that he might be able to keep it going.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got an interesting situation. Pioneer's being kept at bay, arm's length by the conscripts, and to meet all of this Talisman micro and kind of ferocious infantry play with a second MG42, which is very, very good on a map like Longreskaya.
Yeah, it's a sensible idea, actually. I think, as well, if Nagano's been watching any of the games prior today, then he'll probably identify what Talisman is going to be playing as Soviets to burst through if they're going to be able to do any decent damage. So, great choice from Nagano. I think it's a very sensible decision.
The enemy is taking our territory.
Conscripts there, mitigating the MG, going all the way around it. Pioneers have got a difficult retreat path if they're to lose another model. They're between two conscript squads here, and we all know that the accuracy at far range for conscripts has been buffed slightly, so it looks like they will survive, however. Med bunker up in the Wehrmacht base, so both teams have healing now, which will mitigate squad wipe potential slightly.
Nice spot of the MG there by Talisman. Going to see the HM120. I keep doing this. It's the HM38 120mm.
It's a big nuclear cannon. Can we just call it the nuke cannon?
Let's call it the mini nuke. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. If from either Fallout or...
Relic designed this mortar. They put the Brumbar shell effect. Do you know what I mean? Like when the Brumbar lands a shell, it makes maybe even a smaller impact than
possibly
than the HM38. So yeah.
We all know how much Quinn Duffy likes his mortars. So it's an interesting composition Now, he knows there's 2 MG42, so he's gone for that mortar. If it can start landing those bombs, it could be very useful indeed. Oh, missing there, but a lot of those guys have got to be a bit shell-shocked. I mean, surely at least they have a hearing problem now.
Absolutely. I'm surprised it doesn't turf up enough smoke and debris to cause line of sight loss in this game, to be honest. Like. But there you go.
We should just do that Stern Tiger kind of trailer, but for the 120mm at some point, you know. Like, give it loads of hype.
I think it needs it.
I put a YouTube. Oh no, okay. No, it's all right. Don't worry about it. It's a really crap.
Great rifle nade there on the engineers. Takes it down to one model. Can he get the last shot off? It was a little bit of a late retreat there by Talisman. Didn't identify it immediately.
He didn't. But the conscripts are winning out now, so there's not actually any gain there, other than obviously the 3 model losses on the combat engineer. So I suppose that's been mitigated quite well. Very steady game, Dan, evolving. It's more of a game of chess at the moment. We're going to be waiting up, in my opinion.
No, I agree, and this is interesting. When we saw Nagano play his last kingship, he was playing OKW a lot. Now we're seeing him play Austere equally as potent as... playing Austere equally as potent as his OKW, which is really interesting to see. He's quite a dynamic player, but he's really standing the kind of storm that Talisman has been putting on. Even like players like Lovenest, who have struggled against this. Nagano looks dominant. He looks to be in a very good early game position right now.
Yeah, he's after his early aggression failed, he's certainly started to have really good map control thanks to the double MG and thanks to the mortar not really landing any shots as of yet. So that's 340 manpower spent, which hasn't been fully effective. Look at the power of a green cover sandbag there. This conscript nearly wiped the grenadier and has survived the suppression.
Tier 3 is just going up for Talisman. Probably going to see that early T70 again, which would be a very good unit for him to have right now.
Oh, we've had the wipe, by the way, on the MG42. A shot finally did land, and when it did, there's the RNG effect. So, you know, it doesn't hit the first 10, but that 11th one is a wipe. And if the conscripts manage to push away this Pioneer, they may be able to take the MG here. Now, the Pioneers are in position, and they are going to recrew the weapon.
Are you waiting for that lucky mortar shot? Are you ready? Are you ready?
Hear it whistling. Oh, nearly killed his own conscripts. There you go.
I was hoping we'd see it, but this is interesting because he's recrewed the MG. It's in the same position as the last one died. Will we see that wipe again? Oh, HM38 not quite managing it. Nagano putting a huge task force of Grenadiers on the right VP. He's going to be able to take the conscripts at this long range. And no real threat on the field right now.
I think the 120mm is RNG personified. You'll know the threat of it, but it hits rarely, and when it does, it destroys. Interesting engagement here. He's waiting for the combat engineer to tag in for the conscript, bringing that flamethrower into play. Just turning the house now into a flame turret, which will certainly cause the Grenadiers to run around quite a lot.
Oh wow, look at the damage. 2 models drop instantly to that. He's trying to get as much flame as he can on these Grenadier squads. T70 has just come on the field now, and this is the unit that will start to balance things on the field. We have tier 2 up for Nagano, but we still don't have anything from it yet. Maybe he's looking at Talisman to make the choice first. But a very interesting
interview now. He's going to tag in for the combat engineer. The Grenadiers heard him. Doesn't even want to suffer. Great reactions by Nagano, using his headset to his advantage there.
Yeah, the T70 is a really good choice. It's fast on the field. It's going to be able to deal with multiple engagements. And yeah, Nagano's understandably pushed off the map as this unit comes on. It should be looking to go around.
Here comes the Panic Puma, though. Panic Puma in full assault mode. Actually got the rear armor there by missing slightly. Conscripts, are they threatening an anti-tank grenade? No, they're not, because they don't have it. It was just a fake. It was a feint. And Nagano's risking everything, and it's paying off in dividends right now as that T-70 is now an X-tank.
Oh, nearly enough damage to kill. How unfortunate.
And the flare just went off as well on the Puma. If he
Yeah.
had anti-tank grenades, it would have been such a different story, but he did not. And the Panic Puma to the rescue. Obviously, we're always now going to mention that strategically, in terms of build order, he's going to be resorting to tier 4 most likely. But, Dan, for sure impact and getting you back in the game when the T-70 looked likely to reign, you can't argue with that.
No, no. To be honest, if it means that you keep the amazing early game that you've had, you know, when you can just go into standard teching, Nagano doesn't need an off-map call in the late game. He's managed to regain the mid game with this, and the mobile defense has been a really good choice here for him. Now he's actually pushing back up into Talisman's base. He'll be able to get a resource decap. I think this is a great decision from him to pick mobile defense.
Could be pretty good. Nice rifle nade forces the retreat from conscripts just in the center there. We're seeing Nagano with a new lease of life in terms of aggression. He's starting to try and poke holes in Talisman's defense, going all the way around the rear there, just causing a lot of damage to the 120mm.
It is quite low at the moment. MG is still being proactive, trying to get as much damage on the conscripts in the house. Going to be met by the Maxim, which is going to force the retreat. Puma's confident. Frontal MG might be able to do a little bit of damage. At least deny the green cover. If he keeps shooting that, probably take down. There we go. Hay Bale is destroyed. And remove that green cover benefit that the Maxim had. But look at that. The mortar damaging the Puma. You still have to be careful. Anything on the field that you keep static, flesh and unit.
It is indeed. Still not going for mechanized armor componator, and you know, that's going to be a bit of a wait whilst Nagano is solidifying his position.
It's still very back and forth, actually. I really like this because I would have put down Nagano, just had an amazing early game. And we've seen this so much in the recent patch for Company of Heroes. At top level play, games are so back and forth now. You know, there is a defined window where you can have a great lead in and then suddenly it's countered and we see map control starting to go back in favor of the other player. Talisman is playing really well here.
Not released. I really defy anybody to argue against that. The auto matches is that because you'll never know who's going to win, and they've all got really viable tools at their disposal. And varied tools. We're not seeing the same build orders all the time at the moment because the meta isn't settled either. So it's that kind of glory period, if you will.
Yeah. One thing we have to look at the moment, so we haven't seen tier 4 go up yet. We've got to just bring out this unit casually, puts him on the back foot of fuel. Now, this may be great against infantry, but when Talisman does eventually go up, which I think he was about to build his tier 4 then, the 85s will be dominant on the field. So Nagano nearly putting himself on the back foot with this decision for a minuscule advantage. Has to make the most of this.
Well, is it minuscule? I mean, he's actually forcing him to build a Zis gun. He's just wiped the veterancy from the mortar. He's now going to destroy the weapon. Pro could even retreat with it if he was feeling really, really aggressive. So I think the Panzer IV was possibly the thing he wanted for this particular period in play, and it could genuinely put him in a dominant position. Combat Engineer is getting cheeky. He needs to get up there. Wants to recrew that weapon.
I really, really respect that he stopped tier 4 to build the pack gun from tier 2, because it's like, oh, great grenade there as well from the guards. But it's really the unit that he needs right now. If he'd have gone for tier 4, it would have put him so far behind in terms of time expenditure.
Look at this MG. This MG42 is in a perfect position to keep putting the pressure down. He's forced so many units off. Conscripts have got to protect the 120mm. It's a very highly expensive weapon. 340 manpower. A lot more than a lot of other crew weapons. But he's sitting there with that Panzer IV. He doesn't know the Zis is out. 18A to finally being teched, so that just proves that he probably should have gotten them a lot earlier. And there you go, a good defense by Talisman could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, it's ugly in terms of map control, but he's still retained a lot of his army. I say that, he's about to lose a conscript squad if he doesn't act quickly. There it is on the retreat. Has a little bit of success retreating that. He's playing from the back foot now. He's got one direction, which is center. And he has to be successful there for this game to have any chance of recovery.
As the smoke settles there, he's left with a not a very pretty battle picture in front of him. It's not looking too great. He does still have a decidedly strong army. It's just the overall map control situation isn't looking good, and the fact that he's up against this combination of the Puma and the Panzer IV infantry tank, the stub-nose variant, it is quite potent. He's going to have to get the Zis in really good positions and good angles and force them off, and then to retake the map.
Such a difficult position. Of course, Mark Target there went on the Command Panzer IV, so Talisman has been getting recon for what's on the field for Nagano. He can see that Nagano is refreshed. His infantry is coming back up into the central fights, but he is not gaining his resources back at all. Nice grenade, though.
Yeah, he pops Panzer Tactician smoke and gets away. It's the get out of jail free card that you get from a few commanders that Wehrmacht have, and it certainly just keeps you in so many situations and keeps your vehicles alive. Look at the veterancy we're seeing as well. Well, more the LMGs, I guess, that are really hurting. I mean, we've got one grenadier with 16 kills, the other's got 20. He has lost one of them in this game, but he's rebuilding it right now. So he definitely has quite a potent infantry force in general. People in chat saying GG, just proving just how wrong people can be, because it definitely isn't yet. We've got Nagano's got 460 victory points, but Talisman still does have 280, which is sizable. It's over the halfway mark. He's still got a strong army, 51 pop count. He's got great fuel reserves, 180. This one ain't over until it's over.
No, it really depends on the time that he stays with no resources. If it continues on, then I'd probably happily call GG. Yeah, it just depends. You know, Talisman's only on plus 16 at the moment. This is stacking and stacking and stacking in terms of the lead. We're seeing Nagano still playing very aggressively. Great rifle grenade there. And the thing is, if you're not beating your opponent in micro, even when you're in a good position, not going to be out-microing them from the back foot. Nagano clearly has a strong lead on this game.
Just nice, just take it all in for one moment, just look at this beautiful map. But it's not looking so beautiful for Talisman, as that map is in a swathe of red right now, the red colours of the South player. The Russian heavyweight champion, Nagano, the Ruka CL clan.
It's so interesting because when we look at the Talisman versus Theodosis, let's not forget Theodosis knocked out Nagano last week, so Talisman knocked out Theodosis. It's like this triangle of who is really the best at the moment, and
it's the brutality of this format as well. A best of one format is brutal. You have to be absolutely on form, and things have to go your way in order to get these £20 wins and keep them rolling on. And when the field is so strong like it is, we've got players chomping at the bit to play. Dave, Nagano, Red Wings, people can just step up and really ruin the plans you have for your empire. Nagano, Danny's the one that's made the most of it so far, with those 4 wins last week, only to be knocked out by Theodosios in that last game. It looked like it could reign for 1,000 years. And he may be on his way to having another shot at it.
He's got a very good opportunity if he does it today, because we've already had some huge players knocked out of the event. You know, so it's going to be potentially easier for him this week to start that consecutive win streak that gains the prizes. And with the prize pool upped, he's only going to have 2 games to win in order to get the exact same prize pool that he won on the last week, last month rather.
It should be noted as well, the pound to ruble conversion is very favourable, and the cost of living relative to that conversion is quite low. Oh, nice from the flamethrower. devastating that conscript. Good wipe there. So as I was saying, Nagano, £40 is a lot more money than it would be for somebody on the Euro, and that's not, you know, I'm not being negative about Russians or anything there. It just is. You know, you can get a lot more bang for your buck in Russia. I always remember when he won like the ESL money and that money came in. I think that was absolutely huge for him at the time. Actually bought a village.
I was going to see how far you were going to go with that one, A. And,
no, I was being honest
that was,
at first, and then you weren't answering me, so I went to my joke mode, you know. I was trying to make a valid point, and you just let it die.
Oh no, I let it thrive, A. I let it thrive.
Thank you. Of course you did, yeah. Just like all my inane rambling.
Well, as most people watching right now, the situation does look incredibly dire for Talisman. He has not been able to provide a response yet, and even stacking 230 fuel hasn't been able to get the manpower up to bring out vehicles onto the field. It is a grim situation. Nagano tightens the noose with a triple cap, and that is going to leave just over 2 to 3 minutes of gameplay left at this triple cap. Does Talisman have anything to restore this? I personally don't think so, but nevertheless, Talisman has not surrendered. He's still confident something exists that can bring him back. Why
surrender though? I mean, the thing is though, he's not got the manpower to build the mechanized Companator. If he did, and the Brumbear was just threatened to be built, I just saw like a Brumbear just appear in the top right and then get cancelled again. It's like Jaws, you know, just see that fin in the distance, like, oh god, there's something lurking in the waters.
Yeah, I think Nagano, given that he's kind of just at that kind of fuel take for a heavy, he has got his tier 4 up as well. You know, he probably just wants to wait and see what, if anything, Talisman brings. He's not forced into this position. Why build something if you don't need it? Let your opponent build from the pressure point and then counter it with the appropriate response. There's no point in him building anything now. It's he's already got the lead.
He has got the lead indeed, and he's sitting pretty. We're now seeing a slow strangulation of his opponent, and that isn't quite as pretty.
Loving this barrage onto the MG there. It does a lot of health damage, but unfortunately the models do not drop. Let's have a look. Soviets building tier 4. Talisman is actually preparing to try and bring something out.
What is that something though? Because obviously an SU-85 would have been great, but possibly 10 minutes too late, and you know, it's not going to be so good. Panzer Tactician Smoke, he's actually using it to advance, so not retreat, to find the rear side of the ZIS to poke at those crew members behind the shield. Resets up, reverses away, eats a shot.
Oh, he's just not managing to find ground anywhere but the center. He does need to be careful of this as well, because he either commits everything to 1VP, takes it and kind of just partially stems the blood flow that Nagano is draining from him at the moment, or he does decide to spread out as he is and just continually losing these engagements, losing manpower all the while. I'd say actually, from someone who's playing so far on the back foot, this probably isn't the right way to be instigating the recovery. Spreading out does not seem to be the wise thing to do.
He's just so does not want to lose this one, Talisman. He's hanging on in there with every breath, every strength of life he has left. He's trying to fight this. It doesn't look like something he can fight at the moment. It looks like Nagano's the Russian heavyweight's just too heavy for him, and it's possibly not going to happen, unfortunately, for Talisman. I saw a comment in chat. It was crazy to think that Talisman thought he could do this with just conscripts and a mortar. I mean, let's face it, that is kind of what he tried to do a little bit in this game. It was a little bit possibly not teching up at the right moments, not getting that later game potential out between the 10 and 20 minutes when he was still strong. That has now left him vulnerable to Nagano.
but both players are just very, very on point with a lot of aspects of this game. There's a lot of ground attack through hedgerows. There's a lot of really good grenades. You know, when multiple engagements start happening, they're really putting the pressure on each other. 2 VPs left. I don't even know if we're going to see this T-3485 come onto the field. We won't. Match is over, and we do have a new king after a very short reign from Talisman. Alrighty, we are back.
So there we go. We saw that call-ins are very powerful in some situations. Still, they have been heavily